Hello and welcome back to the Bloom and Well podcast. Today we are getting real about something that so many of us feel but rarely ever talk about. And that is that constant loop of anxiety, exhaustion, and the feeling that you're just stuck in that survival mode. So before we go anywhere in today's episode, I want to invite you to pause right here with me, and we're gonna take a breath. So a deep inhale in through the nose, out through the mouth. Again, in and out. If you are listening with tired eyes, a mind that is racing, or a heart that is aching because nothing seems to help you, I want you to know that you're not alone. I was there a few years ago when I was diagnosed with my chronic illness and bedridden. And after making my recovery, I remember one client who sat down across from me and told me that they were tired in their bones, and no one saw, no one cared, no one understood. Their doctors were telling them their labs were fine, they were normal, they looked fine, but she didn't feel fine. And I knew exactly what she meant because I had gone through the same thing. So if that is you and that resonates with you, I do ask you to stick with me today, because we are going to discuss what's really going on inside of your body, and most importantly, how you can begin to help yourself. So let's talk about your nervous system. Yours is not failing you. Your nervous system is actually working overtime in order to protect you. So imagine your nervous system like a smoke detector. It's scanning your environment constantly for danger that's internal and external. And whenever it senses even a whiff of a threat, whether it's a rude email, too much noise, a stick in the road, it can be anything, it has this feeling of overwhelm, and it sounds the alarm. And that alarm results in anxiety. You feel restless, you start to overthink, everything starts to trigger you, you're irritable. And when that alarm never shuts off, the exhaustion kicks in because you're burning a lot of energy, right? It's not because you're weak, your system is stuck in that on position, so it's in that constant fight or flight mode. And while that is great for running from a bear, it's not so great for answering emails, for working, for spending time with your family or your kids, or managing a household, or even trying to fall asleep at night. And the trickiest part of all of this is that most of these stressors are not even life or death stressors that can be triggering, but they feel like it in your body. Your body doesn't quite understand the capacity and what these triggers are, but it feels like it is in life or death situations at the time. So this can be things like always being there for other people, never saying no, always being on for someone else or available, hustling for someone else's approval, living with background noise or constant screens, never having a quiet moment to yourself, holding on to unresolved grief or trauma. All of these things build, they all bottle up until one day your body decides and says, hey, I can't do this anymore. And I've seen it time and time again. There are so many smart, talented, beautifully capable and driven women who crash. And it's not because they did anything wrong, it's because they were never taught how to complete that stress cycle. And so all of these things just continue to build, right? We were taught, myself included, by society, we were taught to push through, not to pause, not to regulate, not to listen to our bodies, which do function differently from a man's body in terms of our energy and how it cycles throughout the month. And pushing causes us to crash. So how do you know that your nervous system needs support? So let's break it down with some real life examples. For me, in the beginning of my journey, I was constantly waking up tired, even after sleeping for like 8 to 10 hours. It didn't matter. I still felt exhausted, could barely get out of bed until finally I crashed and was bedridden. So I want you to know that you're not lazy. Your body was just tense all night. Even though consciously you may not have been thinking about a lot of stress, some of you may have been thinking about it consciously, but your subconscious mind can still be stuck on different stressful events from your day or from months ago, years ago, and that keeps that adrenaline pumping even at nighttime. Maybe you feel really emotional and really fragile, and even the most minor inconvenience feels like the end of the world. I literally cried over spilt milk. No joke. Spilled coconut milk in my floor when I was trying to make a smoothie at my lowest point because I could barely get around. And so I was drinking a lot of smoothies and protein shakes. And I dropped this whole can of coconut milk, and it went everywhere, all over the counter, all over the cabinets, all over the floor, into the cracks of the floorboard. It was a nightmare. And for some people, that's nothing. Okay, clean it up and move on. But because I was so emotionally fragile, I literally broke down, sat in my floor, cried, and had a panic attack. You know, when you are in that state, you just feel like everything is the end of the world. You try to relax, but your brain is like replaying all of these awkward conversations, even though they were maybe days ago, months ago, weeks ago, what you said wrong, what you could have said better. You swing from, well, I'm going to organize the entire house in a day to, oh, well, I can't even hardly brush my hair. I don't have any energy, right? For me, like when I was at my lowest point, it was hard for me to take a shower. I couldn't take a bath because I couldn't get in and out of the bathtub. And so there were lots of sponge baths involved at that time. You know, loud music, it makes you want to bolt, or maybe you feel overwhelmed and you cry, or it sends you into a panic attack. It's not necessarily the topic of the song or, the tempo, but that the loudness is overstimulating for your nervous system. And that's a valid response when we're overwhelmed, right? Is to cry, to tense up, to try to get away from it. Maybe you zone out mid-conversation, or you forget what you were doing 5 minutes ago, or forgetting what you were doing walking into a room. That was a huge one for me. So if you recognize yourself in any of this, these are all classic signs of nervous system dysregulation, which is a nervous system that is stuck between that hyperarousal, that buzzing, anxious, alert state, and the hypoarousal, where you're numb, you're shut down, and disconnected. And you don't necessarily fix this by trying harder, right? We were talking earlier about how, as women, a lot of the times we are told to continue to push. You don't fix this by pushing hard. You heal it and regulate your nervous system by teaching your body gently, by giving it cues that you're safe. So let's talk about some tools that can help, that actually help. Tools that I've used for myself, tools that I still use to this day, tools that I use with my clients and patients. Real restorative practices that help to work alongside your nervous system and along with your body, not against it. So humming and singing. Now, I know these things are going to sound simple, but please trust me when I tell you, when you do these consistently and you stack them, they work. So humming and singing was one of the first ones that I used just because I love to sing and I love music, but humming regularly, even if it's just for a few minutes a day, every morning, every night before you go to bed, it can help your body relax. It can stimulate your vagus nerve, which helps your body shift into that parasympathetic mode and relax. Okay, it tells your body, not directly, indirectly, it shows your body, hey, it's okay, we're safe, we can relax, let me fall asleep. Another one that is really important that is actually taken from EMDR therapy is the butterfly hug. So you put your hands on your shoulders, kind of like you're giving yourself a hug, and you alternate taps. So lift your right hand and tap your shoulder, and then lift your left hand and tap your shoulder. And you slowly and gently just alternate between the two. And this can help with palpitations. It can help with panic attacks if you're in the middle of one. If you just feel super overwhelmed. And I like this because it's pretty discreet. It's not something that a lot of people are going to notice you doing in public. You know, you don't have to come way off your shoulder and tap it really hard. It's just really gentle, light pressure, and just a few taps. And then it helps to ground that system and, again, stimulate that vagus nerve enough to help you face that noise, whatever that overstimulation is. So lip and chest pressure is another one. It may feel silly, but pushing your fingers along your lips, just kind of pushing and applying a little bit of pressure, or applying a bit of pressure onto your chest. Also, even with an ice pack is another one that I would use personally. can help to, again, tell your nervous system that it's okay. It can kind of fake that calm, that sense of calm, that sense of relaxation. And it's a small gesture, but again, it's a way to tell the brain that you're not in danger. You can also work to wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingers, or kind of just gently clench your fists and release, especially on those days when it feels like getting out of bed is impossible, right? Just start to wiggle your toes, and then maybe squeeze your hands really gently and relax, and kind of let that maybe work up into your legs and just kind of roll them around a little bit. Those micro movements are going to help to build the body awareness and shift you out of that freeze mode so that you can actually get out of bed and get your day started. Last but not least, this was a huge one for me when I was bedridden because I couldn't really move a lot, right? So it was one that I used to start working into yin yoga, and I do swear by this one. This is the legs up the wall pose. So you lay on your back and elevate your legs. So for the beginning, I couldn't really get my legs up onto the wall and get them elevated enough for, your standard legs up the wall pose. So I would just kind of elevate my legs with a pillow. And then gradually I moved them to the headboard, and then eventually I elevated them enough up the wall that, it was a proper pose. And again, this helps to stimulate that parasympathetic nervous system. And it's like plugging your nervous system into a charger. It helps you recharge. It helps you relax. You sit there for 5 minutes. Your eyes are closed. No phone. No loud, obnoxious music. No one interrupting you. You can use earplugs if you need to. And it gives you that moment to kind of shut off and relax. So healing and recovering and regulating your nervous system is not about doing everything all at once. And I emphasize that because, like we were talking about earlier, pushing really hard, pushing really fast is not going to do you any good in the long run. It's about finding a really slow, gentle pace and rhythm, right? So humming softly in the morning for a couple of minutes, or a butterfly hug when you're overwhelmed, or legs up the wall after you have dinner. Finding that steady rhythm, right? Some of these can be used when you're having, a panic attack or something in the moment, but when you incorporate them into your day at steady intervals, the same time every single day, that's even stronger and going to give your nervous system that stronger sense of peace and relaxation, and help you shift out of that high adrenaline state, that high cortisol state where you breed chronic illness, right? Where we breed even more stress on our body and inflammation. So, and another thing to remember, and this was something that I had a hard time with in the beginning because I am someone who's still a recovering perfectionist. But if you do skip a day, or if you do forget a session, or whatever, you haven't failed, right? You pick up the next day or the next day and try again. So these tools are there for you when you're ready. You have the knowledge, you have the skills, you have the tools. It's not necessarily a checklist you have to complete every day. So don't rush, and just try one maybe each week. Try adding in one each week and see how you feel, see how your body responds. And if it takes it very well, then you can add on another one the next week and see how it does. And I think that most of you will find that your bodies are going to be very accepting of these because they're gentle. And your nervous system is going to be welcoming these things back over and over again. So if you are thinking, okay, I want this, I want to get my nervous system regulated, I want to, fix the palpitations, I want to fix the panic attacks, I want to feel better, I want to feel less stressed, I want to have more energy and more peace and be able to do all the things I could do before I crashed, but I need someone to walk with me. We do NeuroShift coaching calls. So these are 30-minute one-on-one sessions that are designed for women who feel like their nervous system is stuck in survival mode and need help shifting out of it. Because I didn't have this type of support when I was in the trenches, right? When I was bedridden. And so this is me helping you find tools that work for you to help you feel better, to get your life back to where you want it to be. So this isn't designed to be very pushy. It's a single coaching call. We give you a 30-day roadmap and plan to get you through the next 30 days. If you want a follow-up call, of course you can do that. But it's a 30-day plan that comes with it. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And it's a very compassionate session. It's very grounded, both with science and gentleness. And we start by checking in and say, well, how is your body coping right now? And then we start to explore some somatic practices that can be tailored just for you. So things like breath work or gentle movements or brain retraining tools. And afterwards, you get your roadmap, which includes the things that will help you on your journey, that are meeting you where you are. So I developed these because I needed assistance and I didn't have it. And so I had to figure out a roadmap for myself, right? And once I started, creating roadmap after roadmap every 30 days and building and growing and recovering, it felt like people could really see a difference, which made me feel less crazy, because for a while, everyone just thought I was crazy and like, oh, you're not really sick. You're just faking it. You're not really sick. You're normal. And then I start showing these physical changes and these emotional changes and all of this progress. And people are like, oh man, something really was going on. So anyway, these courses are designed to see you, right? That's what these calls are about. Supporting you, helping your body remember how to feel safe. So if you listened to today's episode and you were present with us, I do thank you for that. I encourage you to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let us know if you have any questions. Let us know what technique you're going to try first this week. Are you going to try humming and singing? Are you going to try the legs up the wall pose, the butterfly hug? And let us know how it goes. You can let us know in the comments below. You can join our free community, which is also going to be linked below. We would love to have you there. And remember that you don't have to hustle your way to healing. You just need those moments of safety that are consistent, gentle, and repeated with love. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys next time.